Pendle Hill. Even the name evokes a chill, sending shivers down the spine of those who hear it. A stark silhouette against the English sky, it stands as a silent sentinel over the landscape. It has borne witness to centuries of whispers and shadows, secrets carried on the wind and hidden in the mist. In 1612, it became a crucible of fear, a place where paranoia and superstition collided. The Pendle witch trials, a time when superstition reigned supreme and reason was overshadowed by fear. A time when accusations meant certain doom, and the mere hint of witchcraft could seal one's fate. At the heart of this dark chapter stood Alice Nutter, a woman whose name would forever be etched into history. A woman of property, unusual for those times. She was both feared and respected. Accused, tried, and hanged on the slopes of the hill. Her supposed crime? Witchcraft. A charge that would lead to her untimely death. Her story, a tragic blend of fear, ignorance, and vengeance, serves as a grim reminder of the past. Centuries later, her presence still lingers, a ghostly reminder of the injustices that took place, a spectral echo of a life unjustly taken. Her spirit wanders the misty hills, forever bound to the land where she met her fate. The year 1612. England trembled under the grip of superstition. Fear was a potent weapon. Neighbours turned against neighbours. Accusations flew like arrows in the dark. To be accused was to be condemned. The Pendle witches, they were called. Their supposed crimes ranged from curses to murder by magic. Their trials were a spectacle of fear-mongering. The evidence? Hearsay. Coerced confessions, and the sheer desperation of a community gripped by the unknown. Centuries later, the echoes of that dark time remain. The stories of witchcraft and hauntings have been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires and in hushed tones. Pendle Hill still stands, a silent sentinel. Its presence is a constant reminder of the past, looming over the landscape with an air of mystery and foreboding. Some say the past never truly dies. It lingers, embedded in the very soil and stones, waiting for the right moment to resurface. It lingers, whispering on the wind. The rustling leaves and the howling wind seem to carry the voices of those long gone, their stories etched into the fabric of the hill. Thomas scoffed at such notions. A man of the modern age, he believed in what he could see, touch, and measure. A man of science and logic, he dismissed the tales as folklore. To him, they were nothing more than the product of overactive imaginations and superstitions. Ghosts, witchcraft, just old stories, he'd say. He was confident that there was a rational explanation for everything. But Pendle Hill has a way of testing convictions. Its eerie atmosphere and unsettling history challenge even the most steadfast skeptics. Drawn by a morbid curiosity, Thomas decided to spend a night alone on the hill. He wanted to prove once and for all that the legends were nothing but myth. A challenge to himself, he thought, to debunk the myths. Armed with his scientific equipment and a lantern, he felt ready to face whatever the night might bring. He would soon learn that some legends are rooted in terrifying truths. As the night wore on, Thomas began to experience things that defied his logical mind, shaking his beliefs to their core. Twilight painted the sky in hues of blood orange and deep violet. Thomas set up camp on the lower slopes of Pendle Hill. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. The wind whispered through the heather, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something else, something unsettling. As darkness enveloped the hill, the temperature plummeted. Shadows danced at the edge of Thomas's vision. He dismissed them as tricks of the light. But doubt began to creep into his rational mind. The isolation was palpable, pressing in on him like a suffocating blanket. A twig snapped in the darkness. Thomas froze, his senses on high alert. His heart pounded in his chest. He shone his flashlight into the darkness, but saw nothing. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end. He was being watched. And then he saw her. A figure materialized from the mist. A woman in a simple, rough-spun dress, her face pale and gaunt, was etched with centuries of suffering. Her eyes, dark and accusing, locked onto Thomas's, and he felt a bone-chilling recognition. Alice Nutter. Thomas stumbled back, his breath catching in his throat. Fear, raw and primal, surged through him. He tried to rationalize what he was seeing. A hallucination? Sleep deprivation playing tricks on his mind? But the despair in Alice's eyes was too real, too visceral. She reached out to him, her spectral hand cold as death. Her voice, a mournful whisper carried on the wind. "Help me," she pleaded. "Clear my name." Her words, heavy with centuries of injustice, sent shivers down Thomas's spine. He was caught in the grip of something ancient and powerful. Terror threatened to consume him. The darkness seemed to close in, suffocating, as if the very air was thick with dread. But beneath the fear, a flicker of something else ignited within Thomas, a sense of injustice. It was a spark that refused to be extinguished, a defiant ember in the face of overwhelming darkness. He had scoffed at the stories, dismissed the legends. They were just tales told to frighten children, or so he had thought. The old books and manuscripts seemed like relics of a bygone era, irrelevant to the modern world. But now, face to face with Alice Nutter's ghost, he saw the truth etched in her sorrowful eyes. The pain and anguish she carried were palpable, a haunting reminder of the past. He wanted to believe her, needed to, for his own sanity. Every fibre of his being screamed for him to turn away, to deny what he was seeing, but the sorrow in her eyes held him captive. The weight of disbelief was too much to bear. He had to reconcile the world he knew with the one he was now confronted with. And more importantly, he realized he needed to help her find peace. It was no longer just about him. It was about righting a wrong that had lingered for centuries. The skeptic, the man of logic, felt a new purpose take hold. His life had been governed by reason and evidence, but now, something deeper called to him. He would uncover the truth of what happened on Pendle Hill all those centuries ago. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Thomas knew he had to see it through. For Alice, for himself, and for the truth that lay buried in the shadows of history. The next morning, dawn broke over Pendle Hill, casting the events of the night in a surreal light. Thomas descended the hill, forever changed by his encounter. He delved into historical archives, poring over trial transcripts, parish records, and local folklore. The more he uncovered, the more convinced he became of Alice Nutter's innocence. The accusations against her, flimsy and fueled by personal vendettas, he felt a growing responsibility to clear her name, to bring light to the darkness that had shrouded her for centuries. Thomas's research led him to others who felt the presence of the Pendle witches, psychics, historians, and descendants of the accused. He learned of lingering energies, cold spots, and spectral figures sighted on the hill. Pendle Hill was a magnet for the unexplained. He realized he wasn't alone in his quest. He began to document his findings, sharing his experiences and research online. He hoped to separate fact from fiction, to honor the memory of those unjustly accused, and to warn others of the lingering darkness on the hill. Pendle Hill remains a place of pilgrimage. Hikers scale its slopes, drawn by its beauty and its dark past. Some may dismiss the stories as mere legend, but others, like Thomas, have felt the oppressive weight of history, the chill of unseen eyes, and the whispers of the past carried on the wind. Be warned, those who venture onto Pendle Hill. The spirits of the past linger, seeking solace and justice. Listen closely. You might just hear Alice Nutter's mournful plea echoing across the centuries. The hill remembers, and it will never forget.